Tonight, try not to call 999, you might not get an ambulance. That's the warning from the boss of London Ambulance Service ahead of another strike.
I would just ask the public to be really helpful again tomorrow and only phone us if they have a life and limb threatening emergency.
Also ahead, the Mayor admits tube fares will have to rise by more than expected. For Charlton Athletic tonight, a chance to turn things around on and off the pitch and...
Wow, this is incredible.
From a skip to Saatchi, the lucky find that's now on display for the world to see. Good evening. Ahead of tomorrow's ambulance strike, there is a stark warning from the boss of London Ambulance Service. Unless it's life or limb threatening, please don't call. Unison members will walk out for 12 hours from 11 a.m. tomorrow, so there'll be far fewer ambulances on the road and in this strike, fewer call handlers available to work. The chief executive of the ambulance service is warning some Londoners will have longer waits and some people won't get an ambulance at all. Rags Martel has the latest.
The sirens are going silent again. Tomorrow, the London Ambulance Service will be on strike, and this time it comes with a health warning.
If the public phone us only when they have a life or limb threatening emergency, then we are confident we can carry on providing a good standard of care. For everybody else who has an urgent healthcare need, then we'd be really delighted if they would go to NHS 111 online or phone 111.
The last ambulance strike took place just before Christmas, and their union insists they will keep Londoners safe if the need is urgent.
We've done everything we possibly can, Unison, working very closely with the London Ambulance Service to make sure that there are stringent contingency plans in place. Everything was done similarly in December. It will be done again tomorrow. The most important thing is that we send a message to the government that we want talks on pay.
But at Westminster, the government was starting to push through a new law to limit the power for essential workers to strike.
It makes every bit of sense to make sure that if strikes are going to occur, that our constituents' lives are protected with minimum safety levels. Frankly, it's extraordinary that anyone would argue against.
The new strike law would require a minimum level of service to continue during strikes in all the emergency services, and could then be extended to the rest of the health service, transport, education and beyond. Employers could even sue unions who breach this law, and even employees could be sacked.
It's because we don't have enough doctors and nurses in our NHS that we're in this desperate state. And yet the government's only answer is to threaten them with the sack. No, this isn't going to work. We need meaningful negotiations, and we need plans to retain the staff that we've got in the NHS and recruit more staff for the future.
But even more strikes are on the way. Nurses are due to walk out on the NHS next week. Rags Martel, ITV News.
Meanwhile, Grant Shapps, who you just saw in the Commons, has been forced into the spotlight for another reason today, to deny photoshopping a picture to remove Boris Johnson. The Welwyn-Hatfield MP posted a photo of a ministerial visit to the first UK rocket launch on his Twitter feed. But social media users spotted that the Uxbridge MP, who was also on the trip in 2021, had disappeared from the image. There he is in the middle now. Mr. Shapps says he was not aware it had been edited and he has now deleted the photo. The Mayor has confirmed to ITV News London that tube fares will rise by more than was expected. Sadiq Khan wanted to limit the hike to 4%, but now he says pressure from the government over the funding deal means journey costs will jump by almost 6%, adding to all the other rising costs of everyday life. Our political correspondent Simon Harris has more.
London's mayor was in party mood today. It's the 160th birthday of the Underground. But the celebrating will be short-lived. In the coming weeks, he has a difficult decision to make. Sadiq Khan must confirm this year's Transport for London fares increase. And he told ITV News the government funding agreement with TfL has forced his hand. The rise will mirror the 5.9% hike in national rail fares.
If we don't increase the fares by 5.9%, the government won't support us, so we've got to make cuts elsewhere. That's why it's really important for Londoners to realise the only reason that any fares will go up is because of the conditions attached by the government.
Last year, TfL fares went up by an average of 4.8%. This year, the Mayor hoped to limit the rise to just 4%. But he says the government's rail fares increase of 5.9% has tied his hands.
People are struggling as it is, and increasing bus and tube fare is just ridiculous.
It will still push me to kind of have to make more difficult choices than I already do.
It's a massive extra expense for people just trying to get by currently.
In a statement, the Department for Transport said it is for the Mayor of London to decide whether TfL fares increase in line with national fares. His critics dispute his assertion that he has no wriggle room, saying there are ways he could find extra money. The Conservatives are calling on the Mayor to reform TfL's pension scheme and to scrap the free travel perk, which allows TfL employees to nominate a partner, friend or family member living at the same address.
He blames the government, but the government has bailed him out to the tune of over £6 billion to cover the cost of COVID. And I think with this fares rise and with the ULEZ expansion coming in, 2023 is unfortunately going to be the year that the Mayor really hits Londoners in the pocket.
Many Londoners rely on buses, which currently have some of the lowest fares in Britain.
The government's introduced a 3-month £2 fare cap for buses outside of London. Now, of course, buses in London are much lower than that. Our bus fare is £1.65. You can take as many buses within an hour as you want for that. So we don't want our fares creeping up to match this new government figure, which wouldn't be fair for Londoners.
When Sadiq Khan was first elected, he introduced a partial fares freeze. It lasted 5 years. Then came COVID. Now, for the second year running, bus and tube fares are going up. Simon Harris, ITV News, Baker Street.
The mother of a 19-year-old boy who died after being failed by the care system has told us she's now meeting with the Shadow Mental Health Minister to discuss calls for a public inquiry into Essex mental health services. Chris Noter from Southend was discharged from a unit just days before he died. At his inquest, the coroner said there had been missed opportunities to prevent the tragedy. Helen Keenan has been speaking to his mum.
What you see here is all the data that the Trust sent me on my son. I asked for this while he was alive, and I had to read this after he died. I really needed it while he was alive because I couldn't find out what was going on.
Failed by the health service that was supposed to help him. Now his mother says they must be held to account. An inquest found just days ago that a lack of awareness about the increased risk behaviour in people with autism did contribute to her son Chris Noter's death.
You had grave concerns when Christopher went into the care of Essex Mental Health Services.
Absolutely. My son has been admitted to a ward, and the very first thing Melanie said was, he's going to die. And my answer was, yes, I know. You know, normally maybe someone would say, how dare you say that? But given what we had seen at that point, it wasn't just fair comment, it was an absolute.
Melanie's son Matthew died in 2012 under the care of EPUT. She's been campaigning for 10 years to look deeper into Essex mental health services.
20 years old, Matthew went into crisis and he did what we're told to do. He asked for help. He was sectioned, he went to the Linden Centre in Chelmsford. I was told not to visit for 7 days. I never saw my son alive again. He was found hanging in his room.
Now they are working together on behalf of dozens of other bereaved families and are calling for a statutory public inquiry.
Currently, the government has commissioned an independent inquiry which doesn't have the power to compel witnesses under oath. It doesn't have the power for a full disclosure of evidence. And the only way we're going to bring about meaningful change and get to the truth of why so many vulnerable people are dying is with those statutory powers.
Essex Partnership University NHS Foundation Trust said they are dedicated to helping people in their time of need, and the death of anyone who has been in our care is devastating. We fully accept the coroner's findings and have put in place a number of measures to improve the care we provide for people who have autism or a learning disability.
This is me having my pyjama day.
But for Christopher's family and the other bereaved, they need more, and will next month meet with the Shadow Mental Health Minister to discuss their calls. Helen Keenan, ITV News.
A strip club in Soho has been shut down for 3 months after several customers reported losing hundreds of thousands of pounds after claims of being spiked. Westminster City Council revoked Vanity Soho's licence following the complaints. The Met Police shared details of at least 10 alleged incidents where customers found large sums of money missing from their accounts or woke up in unknown places. The club denies any wrongdoing. And Sussex police are searching for 3 men caught on CCTV stealing £10,000 worth of phones from a supermarket in Crawley. The footage shows the men entering the Tesco phone shop on the 29th of December and taking more than £10,000 worth of products. Next, the terrified 999 call made by the wife of Olympic cyclist Mark Cavendish has been played in court at the trial of 2 men accused of robbing their home. One of the raiders allegedly held a Rambo knife to the athlete's throat before making off with watches worth around £700,000. Our senior correspondent Ron K. Phillips has more.
Their faces covered with balaclavas. This is the moment the intruders broke into Mark Cavendish's home when he was asleep in bed with his wife and their 3-year-old child. One of the raiders held a Rambo knife to the athlete's throat and threatened to stab him. In a 999 call lasting 7 minutes and 16 seconds, jurors heard Peter Cavendish talking to a police call handler, saying, "There are 5 men in the house and they have knives. They came rushing upstairs into the room. They were just shouting, 'Where are the watches? Where are the watches?'" In the call, which was made at 2:35 a.m. in the morning, Mrs. Cavendish said the intruders had made her husband lie on the floor while she was on the bed, covering her 3-year-old with the duvet. An Olympic silver medalist and renowned Tour de France sprinter, Mark Cavendish was badly injured in this cycling crash in November 2021, just days before the robbery at his home in Essex. Yesterday, he described the knife he was threatened with, saying it was large and had a serrated edge. The thieves stole 2 watches with a total value of £700,000. But it's been suggested they were also looking for a different, more expensive watch. Romario Henry and Oladewu Okorosobo denied 2 counts of robbery. 2 other suspects, Joe Jobson and George Goddard, are still wanted by police. The trial continues. Ron K. Phillips, ITV News.
Still to come on the programme.
So what? Louise is on your team?
For a full rotation.
Surgical Spirit, the TV star finding the drama and the humour in life on the wards, and what Sally did not predict in the night sky. She'll be here with the weather. But first, more than 140,000 people have signed a petition calling for a local hero from Rotherhithe who's facing deportation to remain in the UK. Vimal Pradia received praise from Queen Elizabeth for his dedication to helping vulnerable residents during lockdown, but now he's at risk of being forced back to India. Daniel Henry has been to meet him.
Marching for a man who makes a difference. This rally in Rotherhithe for Vimal Pradia happened last year because the community don't want him to be removed from the country.
I find it very, very stressful when it comes to night. Sometimes it's restless nights, thoughts all around me, all that negativities. It's not easy.
Vimal was sponsored to study in 2011. But when the college lost the right to sponsor students in 2014, nobody told Vimal, who was out of the country at the time. When he came back, Vimal says UK border staff took his passport, which made it almost impossible to apply for a new sponsor. Since then, Vimal has been fighting to prove his status and helping everyone along the way. His efforts got the Royal Seal of Approval as London's representative to Her late Majesty the Queen sent a letter celebrating his commitment to his community.
I saw him the day he got his letter from Sir Kenneth and on behalf of the Queen, and we were both in tears. He was so thrilled. Vimal has just made us a community that didn't exist before, which was shown when people lined up outside the Home Office on a protest and when masses of us marched through the streets.
The Home Office say, "We're committed to an immigration policy which welcomes those in genuine need, but which deters illegal immigration prevents the abuse of benefits and services, and removes immigration offenders from the UK. More than 165,000 people have signed a petition to keep Vimmel in Rotherhithe. They'll soon find out if it's enough. Daniel Henry, ITV News.
10,000 Charlton Athletic fans are making their way to Old Trafford to watch their team try to overcome Premier League opposition Manchester United in the Carabao Cup. This is a rare moment for the League One side. Since their club was relegated from the top flight, they've had little to cheer about. Now they're hoping a cup upset tonight will attract new owners. Here's Antoine Allen.
Come on, you Reds!
The Reds' glory days are back, if only for one night. Charlton Athletic fans filled their bellies and boarded coaches, ready for their trip to Old Trafford to face Premier League opposition in the quarter-final of the Carabao Cup.
Easy peasy.
It's going to be difficult.
It would be a good day out for me. It'd be the first time to a Premier League stadium.
Many of these fans weren't alive when the League One side competed with the likes of Manchester United in the top flight of English football.
And we need to go back there. You know, as a club, I think we're a sleeping giant in London. We need the right investment and ownership.
Over 9,000 away fans will be at the match tonight, an incredible show of support despite the club's declining fortunes in recent years. Fans blame the ever-changing ownership of the club for locking up Charlton's potential.
Obviously the club are going through a poor era at the moment with bad owners. Obviously we need a new owner to come in. Hopefully someone will come in, there's rumours, we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
The last time the Addicts reached this stage of the League Cup was ironically in the same season. They were relegated from the top flight. Since their relegation from the Premier League in 2007, Charlton have had 15 different managers at the club. They've also had 5 different owners at the time, the current owner being Thomas Sandgaard. And the Club Supporters Trust said the club was at its lowest ebb this season, after losing to League Two side Stockport County in the FA Cup last month. How important is it to the fans here to find the right owners for this club?
It's of paramount importance. We've had very little to trust, going back to Roland de Châtelet, then we had ESI come in. Even before, going back to the 80s, going back to the 70s, we've had very little to really give us faith. And that's what we need here at Charlton at the moment.
As pack coaches embarked on the 4-hour journey, fans have 2 wishes. 1, to win and reach the semi-final of the League Cup for the first time, and 2, for a new owner to see the club's potential and supply the finances to unlock it. Antoine Allen, ITV News.
Now, our next guest has the biggest TV shows of the last decade in her credits and can boast turning down a Marvel movie as well. Now, Lara Pulver is starring in a timely drama about the pressures faced by 3 women in the NHS.
Oh wow, here she comes.
I don't even think I brushed my teeth this morning.
How did she get a car seat in that car?
Let's go.
Hi. Say bye-bye. What did you do? Just throw her in from the door?
Oh, she's fine. Let's use our brains.
Welcome to you, Lara. So you're one of the doctors returning to work on the wards, is that right?
Yeah, there's 3 of us, Lisa McGrillis, Paminda Nagar and myself,
Brilliant
all playing these wonderful women who are returning to frontline medicine post-COVID after being on maternity leave.
What are the challenges they face then?
Well, for myself, I'm a first-time mum and a single mum. I am a surgeon. 15% of surgeons are actually women. So the fact that I've done as well as I have as a woman is extraordinary. So I'm trying to be a trailblazer within that world while juggling parenthood for the first time.
We mentioned the Marvel movie in the lead-in to you there because you know about that juggling, don't you? Because you turned down that film because it just wasn't right at that time for you and your family. Yeah, well, it was a Marvel series, and it was more my naivety because I just had to have an emergency C-section. And I didn't know what I was going to be capable. I didn't know what the world would look like as a mother going back to doing my job, to being an actress. So it was just navigating that path and figuring out what made sense. But yeah, being an action hero post C-section kind of didn't sadly work out. No. I couldn't physically honour the job, but hopefully one day. It all works out in the end.
Yeah.
Talking about surgery, sorry for the awful link, but you actually followed surgeons, didn't you, for this programme?
Yeah, I was blessed to have a front row seat. I followed 2 surgeons in Los Angeles, where I currently live, and had the wonderful surgeon Zoe Barber, who's based here in Wales, who was thankfully my confidant in every part of playing this role, because most of my character's journey is based on her real life experiences within the medical profession. So I could get first-hand knowledge from her and hopefully honour what she does for a living.
Yeah, do it justice.
Yeah.
Also
really
in that
important.
wonderful cast, your husband.
Yes.
Playing your ex-husband.
My ex-lover.
Ex-lover,
Yes,
even
yes,
more
even
intrigue
better.
then. What was it like starring with Raza?
Oh, it was wonderful. Raz is brilliant at his job, and we've never had the opportunity to work together. So when this came along, it's a brilliant script. And funny enough, I think the synopsis for his character was Jack Oliveira, like the Poldark of the hospital. And I was like, oh, you'd be brilliant at that, you know, arrogant. And he was like, thanks.
Thanks very much.
No, and no, he's wonderful, and it's great, and it made those very intimate scenes a little easier than normal.
You divide your time between Los Angeles and London, don't you? What does Los Angeles have over London, apart from the weather?
Well, actually, at the moment, we've got very similar weather, a lot of rain.
It's as bad as this?
Well, a lot of flooding, because we're not really used to having rain in Los Angeles, so the city struggles slightly. The landscape in California is fantastic. The fact you can be at the beach, hiking, snowing, all within like an hour's drive is pretty wonderful. Quality of life there, but I miss living in the city, definitely, and friends and family.
London's always best.
Oh, it is, yeah. Especially when Tottenham Athletic are playing Man U.
I know, you were glued to that piece, weren't you?
I used to go to their ground.
You knew more about it than we did.
Yeah, when I was in my late teens, I used to go to their ground. When Alan Kirbishley was there, like years and years ago.
We're just running out of time, but I was going for your IMDb and I noticed your last credit was providing a news anchor voice. Is that right?
A news anchor voice?
Yes, in an animated thing.
Oh gosh, I don't even know about that credit.
I was going to ask you to do a news anchor voice, but actually we're out of time, so I'll take you to the next one.
Is it the main headline?
Better than me. Thank you so much,
Pleasure.
Lara, and good luck with the show, which is next Monday on ITV.
9 o'clock on ITV on Monday. Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right, quick change from drama on TV to drama in the skies. Hello.
Hi, Duncan. I know. So last night, my husband came in and said, "I've seen a shooting star." I was like, "Oh, darling, that's lovely. Well done." Was it a quick blink and you missed it? He said, "No, it was a really good one." And at that point, I was like, "Okay, a little bit jealous. Not going to get too excited." Take a look at what he saw. Can you see that coming right through the sky? Here it is slowed down. This is in above the skies of Peckham.
It's not your doorbell, is it?
It's a what?
It's not your doorbell, that one.
No, it's not my doorbell. It's a proper good one, that. You wouldn't want to be looking at your phone as that came through. We've got another one of it in Wembley as well.
Well, let's see.
Lucky people of Wembley got to see it too. So basically, it's a shooting star. They are pretty common, but last night's looked bigger than normal because it was closer. And if you're wondering what it is, it's basically a piece of rock that approaches the Earth from space, and as it comes into the Earth's atmosphere, it starts burning up, and that's why you can see its tail as it comes through. Anyway, I'm not jealous of him at all. No,
I wonder where it landed.
Sorry, I've got a bit deaf tonight.
The meteor, I wonder where it landed.
Oh, I know. I'm hoping on my driveway and I can start a little museum. Nice bit of retirement with some meteor. Right, here's the weather. Here we go.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles. Car, charger and energy.
Hello again. Well, I hope you managed to avoid getting too soaked today. I suspect this robin didn't look quite so beautiful after getting a load of rain on it. Bedraggled's probably the word. Now, we've got further wet and windy weather this evening, and then tomorrow, a better start, but it will turn showery as we go through into the afternoon, and another spell of wet and windy weather as we move into Thursday. Friday's looking a little bit better, but we are just in this unsettled period at the moment. Right, back to you this evening. So this band of wind and rain moves through this evening, quite gusty as it does so, but as you can see, it disappears off fairly quickly. The second half of the night drier and clearer. Our temperatures will drop down, so coolish tomorrow morning, but not freezing, down to mid-single figures. So as we start the day tomorrow, a better start than this morning, you might be pleased to hear. Dry, brighter, the odd shower around. As we go into the afternoon, though, more showers heading our way, getting a bit more organised. Could be a bit heavy at times, maybe even a bit of thunder and hail. It's going to be breezy again tomorrow and gusty, some quite strong strong gusts as those showers move through. And our temperatures already a bit cooler on paper. With the conditions, we'll probably feel even colder, so down to single figures. And then for the evening, if you've got plans, well, late afternoon, those showers clear off to the east, dry for a time, but there is further rain waiting in the wings for Wednesday night. Now into Thursday, again, staying unsettled. You can see we've got more rain moving its way from east to west, from west to east even, as the day goes on. So unsettled, staying quite windy, but here's Friday, a much better picture, drier, brighter at the moment, and then unsettled again as we head into Saturday and getting cooler by Sunday. And that is your full forecast for now.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles.
So it's a bit unsettled then.
You got the message. Sorry about that.
You said it a few times, didn't you?
How many times can you say it in 2 minutes? Let's go, 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 go.
Anyway, you've been out getting some culture, haven't you, Eliza?
Oh, culture, yeah, that's right, darling. So I went... Well, first of all, let me tell you that this is a really incredible story. So there's a relatively unknown artist who was living in Spitalfields, and very sadly he died during the lockdown. And his flat was being cleared when his neighbour noticed that this amazing artwork was coming out of his flat and about to be chucked away. So he rushed down, saved what he could, and now this work is hanging in no less than the Saatchi Gallery in London. So shall we take a look? Yeah. Here we go. Wow, this is incredible. First impressions?
George would have been proud.
Oh.
And I am too.
They were almost trashed, but now they're treasured, and these optical illusions are quite mesmerising. Some of these are really messing with my brain and my eyes. Ooh, they're very, very clever. Eye-bending, if that's an expression. No, Sally, it's not. You mean mind-bending. But never mind. It's the story behind them that adds a whole extra dimension. Their creator was George Westron, a previously unknown artist, a man once homeless who has struggled with addiction. Sadly, George died during COVID. But a year later, his neighbour in Spitalfields, Alan, heard something strange.
I heard a lot of commotion upstairs in George's empty flat, and I wondered what it was, stuck my head out and saw a bunch of guys from a clearance firm just putting these in the bin.
Shocked, Alan quickly saved what he could. He also posted it on Twitter, and it went viral. People wanted prints, and the Saatchi Gallery wanted to show it.
It's just really exciting. It's a human story that covers things that people don't always necessarily see from art.
But the weird thing is, they look like they fit here.
They totally look like they fit here. That is exactly... When we walked in, I just thought, this is just right.
It's where they belong, yeah.
Oh, it's such a shame he didn't see it. How do you feel about that idea that he hasn't seen this?
I think that's a bittersweet thought.
What I love about these is that from a distance, they look like they're done on a computer, and then you come up close and you can see, my favourite fact, that they're done with a felt tip pen, which I find extraordinary. I don't think of art being done with a felt tip pen, this kind of art.
No, the last time I used a felt tip pen was in primary school.
There you go.
But George kept using them and he became a master.
Yeah.
He's the master of the felt tip pen.
The Masters pieces aren't currently on sale, but they are on show for most of the month. A talent no longer hidden and saved for all to see. Sally Williams, ITV News, Chelsea.
Oh, thank you, Sally. And that is how London is looking. We're back tonight and at the same time tomorrow, 6 o'clock, of course. Coming next, it is the ITV Evening News with Charlene. Bye for now.